Good morning. Thank you so much for investing your time with us this morning. My name is Thevamalar Yasmin, and I'm the moderator for this insightful forum discussion today, titled Learning Theories Describe the Condition and Processes Through Which Learning Occurs, providing teachers with models to develop instruction sessions that lead to better learning. These theories also examine what motivates people to learn and what circumstances enable or hinder learning. I would like to introduce our experienced panels today. We will begin with Miss Jessica, a teacher teaching in International School in Kuala Lumpur, Miss Yasmin, a lecturer in Teacher Training Institute in UNITA University, University lecturer Mr. Siew, State Department Head Miss Eunice, and finally Miss Marilyn, the Curriculum Division Officer. Before we begin, I would like to share my insights on why learning theories are essential. Learning theories are important for several reasons. One, understanding the learning process. Learning theories provide insights into how individuals learn, process, and retain information. They help educators understand the cognitive, emotional, and social aspects of learning, which can be used to design effective learning experiences and intervention. Two, enhancing educational outcome. Learning theories inform the design and implementation of curriculum, instructional materials, and assessment methods. I bet teachers love this. By applying evidence-based learning theories, educators can optimize teaching and learning processes, leading to improved educational outcomes and student achievement. In summary, learning theories are important as they provide a theoretical foundation and practical guidance for understanding, facilitating, and improving the learning process in various educational settings. Which brings us back to our discussion today of application of cognitive learning and constructivism learning theories. Let's see what our amazing panels have prepared for us today. Firstly, let's start off with Miss Jessica. Can you tell us about yourself, please?
A very good morning, fellow panels and moderator. I'm Jessica, and I've been teaching for about 8 years now in an international school.
Nice to meet you, Miss Jessica. I heard that you're a fan of Piaget's approach. Can you tell us why?
It is very interesting that Piaget's approach is very much relevant to today's teaching. So I guess that's why later on I'll explain more on to why I believe that Piaget's theory is very relevant in the coming points.
I see. How do we apply Piaget's theory to teaching then?
So first, we apply constructivist approach. So it is emphasized that students actively construct knowledge through their own experiences and interactions with the environment. So teachers can create learning environments that encourage exploration, discovery, and hands-on experiences, allowing students to construct their own understanding. So for example, for myself, okay, I facilitate group discussion. I pair students up for their own discussion and research. For the older ones, they do their own research. And also, using Piaget theories highlights on discovery-based learning. So, teachers can design activities that encourage students to explore, experiment, and solve problems independently or collaboratively. So, this approach can foster critical thinking, problem-solving skills, and allow them to have a sense of ownership over learning.
Wow. Miss Jessica, would you enlighten us how to apply Piaget's theory in instructional design and assessments?
Sure. So assessment and instructional design by incorporating Piaget's theory in teaching. So we have individualized instructions. So where it recognizes that students progress through stages of cognitive development at different rates or pace of learning because every students learn differently, different from one another. So with personalized learning and assessment, it is used to test on students' abilities and level of knowledge. So, for instance, language groups are divided into advanced, intermediate, and beginner because students, by using different levels of assessment, okay, students can be able to meet their own unique needs of students, test them with their own strengths and weaknesses.
Insightful, Miss Jessica. Thank you so much. You're truly a believer of Piaget. Miss Yasmin, hello there. Can you introduce yourself to us, please?
Hi everyone, my name is Yasmin. I've been a lecturer at our institute or teacher and around 5 years now. So yeah, that's about me.
Thank you, Miss Yasmin. As a lecturer in a teacher training institute, how equipped is our teacher training institute in making sure that our educators are well trained to apply this theory in their teaching?
So actually, let me just give you a breakdown of what we teach. There are seven major things that we teach. One is the foundation courses. This is where we give them introduction to psychology, philosophy of learning, and things like that. And then we do have pedagogical content knowledge. So this is where we use up-to-date research to educate our trainees on the effective teaching methods. So they're up to date. They're using all the new styles to teach. The third one that we teach is the teaching methods. So post-COVID, there'll be more emphasis on educational technology and how we use them in our classroom. The fourth thing that we would teach is classroom management. So this is where the behavioral the behavioral psychology comes in. And then last on the fifth thing that we teach them is also the practicum. So they get to experience at site teaching. Next one is educational policies. So it's basically what they should do, what they should not do. And also lastly is the professional development. So they always get input from us and how they can improve their self as a better teacher. So in our foundation courses and our teaching methods, we equip them with the main two learning theories, which is the cognitivism and also the constructivism by Vygotsky and Piaget. So yeah, that's how we teach.
Wow. Post-COVID education must be quite challenging at times. Well, Miss Yasmin, the big question here is how do we incorporate these two theories into the existing curricular instruction session and assessment procedures?
Okay, so due to the time constraint, I'll just focus on how we incorporate some of Piaget and Vygotsky's theory into our teaching curriculum. I believe that Marilyn will go in deeper into the curriculum methods of teaching, and Jessica pretty much sum up how to apply them. And it's also to take note about Vygotsky's ZPD, which is zone of proximal development. And this refers to the difference between what a learner can do without help and what he or she can achieve with help. Okay, so bearing this in mind, firstly, we teach trainees to get the experience on how to teach hands-on experiential learning. So Piaget emphasizes on stages where the child gets to manipulate things and understand the cause and effect by interacting with the environment around them. So we don't limit our trainers to just classroom experience. We do let them expose outside. Secondly, they practice scaffolding properly, using prompts and what Jessica mentioned, because we need to make sure that a successful scaffolding occur within the ZPD zone. Thirdly, they get to understand the progression of the students, and you need to understand some students are in the concrete operational stage, some are at the abstract thinking stage. So a lot of visual aid, a lot of real world examples are being given. And lastly, in terms of assessment, our trainees will get exposed to the forming of open-ended questions. Yeah. So usually we will take note from the State Department to help refine our curriculum, to help our trainees get the best tools.
Insightful thought, Miss Yasmin. Thank you so much. Your points are definitely something for us to ponder about. This forum is surely getting more and more interesting. Without further ado, let's start with Mr. Siew, a lecturer in a renowned university in Klang Valley. Hello, Mr. Siew. Are you ready to tell us about yourself? Because we are eager to hear.
Sure. I'm a lecturer teaching mechanical engineering in measurement courses. Thank you.
All right. Great. Mr. Siew, can you tell us what are the stages of cognitive development?
There are mainly 4 stages. Sensory motor, which is from birth to 2 years old, where you see all the toddlers will kind of like understand the world through senses and actions, where they touch everything and taste everything. If you've got kids, you understand this, they put everything in the mouth. And then secondly is pre-operational, which is 2 to 7 years old. And they understand the world through language and mental images. That's why sometimes they will say something like pretty disturbing, like, "Mom, did you see that guy over there? Why can't you see it?" Like they try to understand. That's why maybe they create the images that we can't see. And then the third one is concrete operational, which is primary school, 7 to 12 years old. They understand the world through logical thinking and they category. They'll start to categorize things like this is a bad guy, this is a good guy, this is good, this action is bad. I'm happy, I'm sad, so etc. And the last one is the most important one for my session is formal operational, 12 years and onwards. So they understand the world through hypothetical thinking and scientific reasoning. Like sometimes if you got kids at this age, they tend to ask why. Mom, why is this like that? Dad, how is that working? That they keep on asking, throwing question. They're using your answer to ask more question. Why? So that's my point.
Insightful. How are these stages aiding tertiary level education?
Uh, because when you're teaching university, the students are at least 19 or 20 years old. They're already learning for 13 years or more than that. So we cannot just teach them basic stuff. We must throw them something that makes them think. Okay, deep finding and then critical thinkings, like throw them modern world problem to solve. Not to let them stay in the comfort zone of spoon feeding. You must let them have hands-on, as mentioned by others just now, and then keep them coming. Throw them with problems, like seeing how creative they can be while solving a modern world problem. Maybe it's a breakthrough. We must push the boundary of knowledge. So this is what is most important for lecturers to keep in mind, that we cannot spoon feed the students anymore. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Siew, for your explanation. I'm eager to hear what our State Department head is about to share. Let us allow Miss Eunice to take the floor.
Good morning. Greetings to everyone, all the distinguished panels and moderator. So I'm Eunice, the head of State Department of Education. I'm delighted to be here with you today in this discussion. So I have got over 20 years of experience in this role, whereby I have had the privilege of training and supporting teachers in their professional growth. So now let's embark in this engaging discussion together.
Miss Eunice, nice to meet you. Could you elaborate on some specific stages that teachers can employ to promote constructivist learning in the classroom?
Okay, so to effectively apply the constructivist theory in instruction sessions, teachers can adopt several strategies or following strategies, as I were to mention. Now, firstly, they can promote active learning by providing hands-on experiences or opportunities for students to engage with the materials. For example, as a science teacher, in a science lesson, during a science lesson about plants, students can be given such as seeds, soil, plants, or pots to plant or nurture their own plants. And we've all gone through this experiment ourselves, especially during our year 4, year 5. And this experiential learning allows the students to actively construct their knowledge about the plant's growth and development. So you get to engage in the lesson more deeper and have a better understanding about the whole nature and how the growth of the plant works.
I appreciate the emphasis on real-life context in constructive instructions. How can teachers effectively incorporate these contexts into their lessons, Miss?
There's real life, the emphasis on real life context on how we do apply this context in our lesson is basically how connecting curriculum content to students' prior knowledge and experiences basically is what the teachers will emphasize on. And it is the key of our learning life altogether. For example, in a math lesson on fraction, teachers can use relatable examples on everyday life, whereby they use the dividing of pizzas and sharing candy bars and so on. And students enjoy the lessons. In fact, they understand the concepts of how division happens. And by providing the authentic context in this sense, all these examples that I mentioned, these are called the authentic context. Teachers can also enhance the engagement of students and making the students learning more meaningful and relevant.
Valid points indeed. Now let's shift our focus to assessment procedures. How can we align assessments with constructive principles?
Great question, moderator. So assessment procedures are aligned with the constructivism, basically how it should focus on the evaluation of students' understanding, critical thinking, and the application of knowledge in the real world context. So traditionally, how tests and exams work, they may not exactly capture these aspects effectively. Instead, teachers can employ using project-based assessments that require students to basically showcase their knowledge and skills, or to learn skills that will solve real life or real world problems. Additionally, portfolios or presentations can showcase students' learning journeys and their ability to reflect on their progress, providing a holistic view of their growth. So we're not really engaging much in the traditional exams or assessment. However, they do play a certain percentage but other elements such as assessments, project-based, do carry a heavy weightage these days in our curriculum.
I find the idea of formative assessments intriguing. Could you elaborate on how teachers can implement them in line with constructive principles?
Okay, so as I was just saying, how traditional assessments are more towards what's done at the finals, okay, at the finals of the semesters, for instance, where you have your final examinations. But in between or before that, usually teachers will find interesting assessments or discussions and observations such as debate. I myself, I teach English, so I do apply a lot of debate session, and I do apply a lot of business presentations. If let's say students are to work on business projects and so on, where they can unleash their potential if they are entrepreneurs in the future, what are the things they can apply and basically project to the classroom. So teachers will look at their potential and their creativity and in how they run their observations, the discussions in class, and how the students do questioning techniques, which allows the teachers to gain valuable insights of the students' thoughts and process and understanding all together in a specific lesson. And by engaging in conversations or discussion with students, teachers can also identify the misconceptions and guide the students in refining their understanding, because these days the students tend to have different mindsets and different thinking. So when they were to share it with the teachers could guide them on what's right, what's wrong, or just to guide them generally on how their understanding should be in a refined manner. And this also fosters the method function and the self-regulation, which is also very essential for live learning skills in the future for the students.
Thank you, Ms. Eunice, for sharing your insights on the application of constructivism in instruction and assessment. It's clear that constructivism offers valuable principles for educators to create engaging and meaningful learning experience aligned with the curriculum. By promoting active learning, collaboration, learning, and authentic context and employing a variety of assessment methods, we can foster a student-centered approach that nurtures curiosity, critical thinking, and lifelong learning skills. Finally, I would like to pass the floor to our brilliant Curriculum Division Officer, Ms. Marilyn. Please tell us about yourself.
Hi everyone, I'm Marilyn, a Curriculum Division Officer. I personally agree with the idea of learning experience must be plain fit assessment of age levels at which specific process of thought can be occur. Therefore, our aim is to plan a curriculum that are assimilation, that educating the students so that the new experience can be assimilated into the existing experience. Accommodation, that concrete the experience can be accommodated into the concept and principles. And lastly, equilibration, to those new relationships can be classified and understood.
Thank you, Ms. Marilyn. A powerful introduction indeed. Can you tell us about the types of curriculum that are encouraged?
So for the instruction and teaching method, we are open for the teachers to use all the methods that are suitable for their classroom design. So firstly, we will say differentiate instruction. It's the idea of creating tailored education plan for the student based on different levels. This may also involve the way which student can access the content, the activity they do, and the assessment technique are the teacher use, or even a physical setup for a classroom. For example, provided the books or other material at different reading levels, measure the student progress in different ways through project, portfolio, and participants. Teacher learning center and student learning center should be happen at the same time actually. A traditional way to construct a classroom learning that teachers lead a lesson by presenting or sharing knowledge. While teacher is presenting, the student can listen, watch, take notes, and copy teacher's demonstration. Quote from Benjamin Franklin, tell me, I will forget, teach me, I may remember, involve me, and I learn. Therefore, we also involve student learning center in our curriculum. Students are encouraged to take the responsible for their learning. Segregate the student into group is a great way to teach them the skill in collaboration, critical thinking, like what Miss Eunice and Miss Jessica mentioned. It is important to encourage both class participant and listening skill so that the student can gain the abilities for the future. Our teachers also frequently use technology in classroom to make the teaching progress more efficiency and aided in student learning. The student can use devices like computer, or the tablet to read the materials, conduct the research or play educational game. This is especially helpful for those students with disability who may have difficult focus in physical classroom environment.
That's great, Ms. Marilyn. I believe if implemented well, we can truly benefit from it. Amazing. In your opinion, what are the type of assessments that are commendable?
So for same like other institutions, our school also provide formative and summative assessment. We provide assessments like homework, quizzes, tasks, project to assess the student capability. Not only focused on the student knowledge, but we also want them to apply their knowledge and skill to the real world task or problem. Therefore, performance-based assessment, for example, presentation, debates, role play are included in our assessment. Peer evaluation and assessment is something that we are encouraged in our classroom setting. Students will observe their classroom works and provide feedback. This type of assessment provide a critical thinking, communication, constructive feedback skill. It is also encouraging the student to be involved in the discussion, engagement, and interact. That's all for me.
That's great. Thank you so much, Ms. Marilyn, for your eye-opening points. I guess we can all agree there isn't just one way in learning. I hope that this discussion is effective and insightful for our viewers. Thank you to our amazing panels. It was my pleasure.